The recording has started, and I think we have increased in numbers. So I would like to officially begin the session. Good morning once again, and welcome to the Research Capacity Development Unit, University of Johannesburg's information session for the 2025 Institutional Visualize Your Thesis competition. I would like to start off by thanking our guest speaker for taking the time to share their experiences with us today, and for all our attendees here in also taking the time to attend the session. So my name is Dr. Chandri Pillay, and I will be your moderator today. I am joined by the RCD team who will be reviewing the moderation of the session. They are listed under the organizers section. You will find them there, but they will also assist with answering questions in the chat box. So if I can please ask my colleagues just to give everyone a wave. Okay. Thank you very much, Isaac and Dr. Gabriel. Okay, so before introducing you, thank you, Isaac. So before introducing you to our RCD VYT coordinator, who has just turned his camera on, and also our guest speaker, Mr. Isaac Potgieter, I would like to go over some housekeeping rules and important information. So for the housekeeping rules, if you do have questions during the presentation, please raise your hand. And if you would like to speak, then I will indicate to the facilitator as well as the presenter. And then you may go ahead, as I will at that point unmute your mic. Secondly, the session is recorded, as I mentioned, and the presentation slides will be requested from our facilitator, and both of these will be uploaded to our RCD MS platform and Moodle communities. Thirdly, a feedback survey will be sent during the session on the chat section. And we would like to please request for you to fill this out. Firstly, number one, because it allows to give us some feedback to the facilitator as well as our guest speaker, and also for our reporting. And lastly, it ensures that you get a certificate of attendance. So with regards to these last 2 points, I would actually like to bring your attention to the RCD management system, which is our new platform where you can register for workshops, book writing consultations, and stay updated on events all in one place. So we will be soon phasing out of using Moodle. So we urge you to please register ASAP using your UJ email addresses, as our platform can only send out emails to the UJ email addresses. And then if you are having trouble with registering or accessing the system, we are hosting digital onboarding sessions from Monday to Friday, where one of our consultants will assist you online. And then if I can please request one of my RCD colleagues to enter the Teams meeting link into the chat box as well as the RCD MS URL. So now to take you back and introduce you to, firstly, our VYT coordinator, who is Dr. Gabriel Monera, an RCD specialist. He holds a PhD in EMS with international trade and has a strong academic background, including roles as an assistant lecturer, high school educator, and currently as a research writing specialist at the University of Johannesburg. Amongst many other roles he holds at RCD, but you can find out more about him during the session. And then for our guest speaker, Mr. Isaac Potgieter, who was the first place winner for the 2024 Institutional VYT competition. So he is a PhD candidate in the Faculty of Art, Design, and Architecture. His work is focused on converting ethnographic data, such as interviews, into spatial data for using in the representation of physically lost cultural heritage sites in virtual reality. And specifically for his VYT presentation, he focused on his research, which was a memory of Sophia Town, a VR experience of the historical neighborhood in Johannesburg. So apart from this, Mr. Isaac is also an entrepreneur and has his own company named Glassbox 3D, which has a software for design. He was kind enough to do a training session with us last year, and I'm sure the attendees can ask him more questions regarding this during his section. So without further ado, I will first hand you over to Dr. Gabriel Manera.
Thank you, Dr. Pile. Let me share my slides with you. And whilst I'm doing that, I just want an indication from the participants who are present and also from the colleagues from the Research Capacity Development Unit to just show by, a virtual thumb that you can hear me well and you can also see the slides that I'm sharing with you, including my face as well. We usually do not share our face, but for this important session, I just thought that it's important that you guys get to see us to see the face behind the talk. So thank you once again, for being our audience for today. So let me just share the screen with you. All right. Just indicate for me by show of virtual thumb if you can see the slides that I've shared with you. All right. Thank you so much. I think I'll turn my camera off. You have seen me, and then begin with the presentation for today. So like Dr. Pillay have already said, this is an information session for the 2025 Visualize Your Thesis competition. It's Visualize Your Thesis program, but we better know it as the VYT competition. So I will turn off my my camera. Let me just do that. Okay, so let me just proceed with the presentation. So this is the outline of the presentation. I will just start by an introduction of what VYT is. Maybe some of you have never heard about this, so we just want to go maybe a little bit into detail as to what does it pertain. Then look at the institutional competition processes. So these are the processes that we follow as the University of Johannesburg when we undertake this program at an institutional level. Then also how to download the resources. I think that is important because those are the resources that you are going to use for your entry into as a participant in this competition, and also the resources provided and files to submit, technical requirements, copyright, POPIA and referencing, technical details, submitting your entry, selection criteria, the guest speaker, you have been introduced to him, so at the closer to the conclusion of this session, you will maybe share, one or two words of encouragement with us. Okay, then we conclude the session, and open the floor for discussions. But at any stage, if you feel that there are questions that you need to be addressed, you are welcome, to indicate that in the chat box or to, raise your virtual hand and mute yourself, and then you ask your question and we address it. Okay, so, what is it that we call the Visualize Your Thesis competition? So this is a competition format that was developed by the University of Melbourne in Australia. Right. So the competition, the motivation behind it is simply to challenge graduate researchers at any stage of their candidature to present their projects in a 60-second eye-catching video. So you don't need to have graduated for you to be able to enter this competition. So at any stage, even if you're still at a proposal stage, you can still be able to be a participant or an entrant in this competition. So we also it's also known as a visual elevator pitch. Okay, so using the pre-supplied templates, you see later when I go through with you the process of how do you submit your entry. First you have to access the resources. There are resources that, templates and other resources that are there to guide you on how you go about, creating the video, and also how you go about, entering as a participant in this competition. Okay, so those resources as an entrant, you are simply tasked with developing a striking video presentation that succinctly describes your research and its potential benefits to a non-specialist audience. So we always talk a number of times. Students come and consult with us here at the Research Capacity Development Unit. So it's important that your research, if it can reach an audience that are not experts within your field, then that is a good research. So here you are supposed to present it in form of a video format, 60 seconds video format, as I have already alluded to, but presenting it to a non-specialist audience, so which means they must understand, the motivation behind and all other aspects that pertains to the research that you will be doing, or that you would have done if you are at completion stages. Okay, so what are the benefits of participating, of being an entrant into the VYT competition? So the first, we'll look at the critical skills that are developed, which include communication and engagement. This is an important aspect. We always communicate. Wherever we are communicating. And as academics, we all even go and extend, as we also communicate our research with the audience that we are targeting. So it will teach you how to communicate. So information and digital literacy, we are living in the AI era, whether we like it or not, that is where we are now. So even some of us who thought that we are old school, we now find ourselves with smartphones and all these other types of gadgets, that now defines our daily lives as people. Then the visual storytelling and design skills and understanding of copyright and licensing under Creative Commons. Then, as part of the benefits as well, there is also a monetary prizes that are attached to this competition. So I've included a link, to our web page that is dedicated to the Visualize Your Thesis competition. Is there for your access. I think these slides will be shared with you so that you are able to access it if you need any further information. But this competition, it happens in 3 phases. There is the institutional competition, there's the national competition, as well as the international competition. So it's sort of a multi-level competition and exposure that you gain from this. But the institutional, at institutional level, the institutional VYT competition is hosted by the University of Johannesburg. So this is the purpose of the information session that we are having today. And the date of this competition, for our institution is the 13th of June this year, 2025. Then we have the national competition. So the first, second, and third place winners from the institutional, VYT competition, they each move on to the national competition. That is hosted by a designated university in South Africa, for the year, the current year of the VYT competition. So, which means for 2025, one of the universities in South Africa will be hosting this. So it will be communicated at a later stage when it has come to our attention and knowledge who will be hosting it. Then the date of competition is also to be confirmed. Then we have the international VYT competition, where the first place winners from each university, they move on to the international competition. It's hosted now by the University of Melbourne, who are also the sort of the custodians of this competition. The submission closing date for that is the 1st of September 2025, and the announcement of winners is the 20 to 25th of October 2025. Pardon, that 2024, it was just a slip of typing there. It's 2025. Then I must bring it to your attention that when you have proceeded through the institutional competition, the institutional VYT competition, which means you have came one of the number 1, number 2, and number 3, the winners of the first, second, and third prize, you automatically gain entry into the international competition, VYT competition, that is hosted by the University of Melbourne. So the national competition, we do it, but it does not define your qualification for the international VYT competition. So let's move on to the eligibility. Who is eligible to apply or to become an entrant into this competition? So it's open to all currently enrolled graduate researchers. By that I mean students that are enrolled for the Masters in Philosophy, for Masters by Research, PhD, or professional doctorate programs at any stage of their candidature, who are active and attending of registered VYT institutions. So, which means, among those institutions that will be participating in this competition, including the University of Johannesburg, of course. Then, who is not eligible? So, honors students, they are not eligible. Masters by coursework students, even if their program has a research or thesis component, they are also not eligible to apply. Graduate researchers on a leave of absence or inactive.
Sorry to interrupt, Dr. Gabriel. I just wanted to clarify for the last slide. If you could
let
just
me go
back.
This one.
Sorry,
Do you mean
the
this
slide
before? Yes.
Yes, this one. Thank you. It's first, second, and third for the national place, and just the first winner from each university for the international. I just want to clarify for the attendees.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Pile, for that. Okay, so it's for national first, second, and third, but the first winner on the institutional is the one who proceed to the international competition. Thank you for that. Proceeding, I think I was now here, honor students, masters by coursework. Then I was now speaking of graduate researchers on leave of absence. So which means these are inactive students and or those that are not attending, including lapsed candidates. So those that have, are no longer possibly part of the university because their studies would have been terminated for one cause or another. And graduate researchers who are employed by the university who may have or may be perceived to have influence over the outcome, research funding or related resourcing, or an otherwise unfair advantage over the other entrants from their universities. Like, for example, if you are working for the RCD and you are also studying towards a doctorate or a master's, and by other criteria you qualify, but you cannot be an entrant into the competition because we are the ones who organize it and also host it as well. Then the institutional competition processes, this is our process.
Sorry,
that
Dr.
we
Gabriel.
undertake. Yes.
Just to interrupt you again, because we'd like this information session to be interactive. There is a question from Offense.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I was asking a question based on the funding aspect of the requirements. So I am employed by the university, but not under RCD. I'm employed as a tutor, and I also have the GES scholarship, the master scholarship. So I was asking if I am still eligible or I don't qualify based on that.
Thank you, Offense, for the question. Dr. Pile, you can guide us on that one.
Thank you. Offense, so you are currently a registered master's student, but you also work part-time. That is fine because you don't hold any responsibilities with any of the VYT preparations going.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Pile, for answering the question. Okay, so I think I've addressed that, and also the question was relevant, to the graduate researchers who are employed by their university. Yeah, so like what Dr. Pile have said, if you do not have any influence. So it's I think it rests upon the RCD to determine the level of influence that you are having and whether we can qualify or you do not qualify to be an entrant into that. But if you do not have anything to do with the processes, then surely you qualify to be an entrant into the competition. So these are our the competition process. So we have as the University of Johannesburg, as the institutional level, we have the round one, where submission of abstract, PowerPoint presentation, video, script, terms and conditions agreement, and a submission checklist that is signed by yourself as the entrant and your supervisor, together with the supervisor, must be done by the 11th of May 2025. So I will go along the way, the course of the presentation. I will show you how you can access these resources that are needed, that we are mentioning in this first round, that you use to prepare your video for the final entry into the institutional competition. Then we have the round two, where a panel provides a feedback to successful entrants. We will do that by the 25th of May 2025. Then we have round three, which is a final submission that is scheduled for 6 June 2025. And the date of our competition for the University of Johannesburg 2025 VYT competition is 13 June 2025. Then I think, as I've mentioned, that there is also a monetary prizes that are attached to this. So whilst you are competing, you must know that you stand a chance to win some prizes, which includes at the first place. That's it's 10,000 rand for the first prize. Then we have the second prize, which is 7,000 rand, and third prize 5,000 rand. Then we have 3,000 for People's Choice Award, right? So all the winners, they will also receive prize certificates, trophies, and presentation checks. All participants will receive certificates for participating in the competition. Okay, so this is the process that is followed. I will just go with you the process as shown on the slides. Then I will do a quick demonstration on the RCD MS system. So this is how you access. The first thing that you have to do is to access the VYT resources. So you have to register to the RCDMS, or the Research Capacity Development Management System. So as already stated, we are in the process that if you are not yet registered, we are already having the RCDMS roadshow, where people can register at one of the libraries on the campus, on all the campuses. That's the Punting Road, then DFC, as well as here at PK. It's on certain dates where one of our colleagues will be stationed at those libraries, helping people to register. Alternatively, we are also having the onboarding, the digital onboarding, where on a daily basis we have an event for assisting those who would want to register online, and we advertise or send announcements on Moodle communities every day, letting people that we are still assisting people with registrations online. So what you have to do is that you access the RCDMS webpage by going on rcdms.uj.ac, or alternatively, if you have already registered, you simply enter your information and then log into the RCDMS system. Then the second or third and fourth things that you do, you have to click. Once you are now on the system, you click on those three bars on your top right of your screen. When you click that, then it will open this tab. Then you go to My Events. When you click on My Events, it will take you to the events, right? So this is the event calendar. So on the event calendar, you have to scroll to May, right? You scroll to May because our submission is scheduled for May, the 11th of May, specifically from the early hours of the morning until the late hours of the evening. So when you scroll to May, when you are on May, you will see the workshop. It's actually there on the. You have to go on the 11th of May. So the year where I've shown with that black circle, the 2025 Institutional VYT Competition Submission link. So when you click on it, it will open this pop-up window. Then when you are on the pop-up window, it will show the details of this submission link. When it began and when it ends. Then you view the event. So when you click on view the event, it will take you now to the event page. So on the event page, you will see the information about the event and also the information. It will be grayed out that part of where you have to register for you to be able to submit your entry, right? But because of the purpose why you are going to this web page, it's for you to access the resources that you are going to use in preparation of your entry, of your entry video, right? So whilst you are on the page, it will also give the event summary, but we are more particularly interested on this part of the information where it says event resources. So on the event resources, by clicking them, you are able to download the resources. Then you have not yet submitted your entry. So this is access only for you to be able to download the resources. So after downloading the resources, then you go through the processes of preparing your entry. But there is an entrant pack that will guide you with that whole process, which is also part of the event resources that you will be downloading there, right? These are the resources that you see, the entrant pack with all information required to prepare for your submission, and you must read that carefully. Then the abstract that reviewers will use as a background to assess your video, the PowerPoint and converted video, the script, which includes screenshots of slides and text related to the slides. That is the information that you'll be inputting into the script yourself. So these are the terms and conditions agreement to be signed by the student and the supervisor to ensure intellectual property rights have been discussed and you have been given approval to disseminate your research by your supervisor. Then the submission checklist for the entrance to ensure your submission is complete. So these are also the same documents that will be required as the submission files that you have to upload later. I will show you that process where you on the 11th of May 2025, then you have to go back on the system again using the same link that you would have used to access the resources. You go back on the system, then you are able to now upload your submission documents and be able to register the submission, right? Then these are just some technical requirements, the general. Well, before we move on to that, I think let me rather quickly demonstrate so that whilst this is still fresh. Okay, so here I think you can see, just confirm if you can see I'm now sharing the Google.
Yes, Dr. Gabriel, we can
you
see
can
Google.
see it. All right, thank you so much. The search engine. Then, okay, so let me type RC DMS, or because I always open it, it's already there. Then I click on RC DMS. I'm using the profile of Dr. Pillay as a student. Then you click, these are the 3 bars that I was talking about. You click on that, you go on my events. From there, the event calendar open, you scroll to May 2025, then you look for the workshop. These are all the workshops and some other events that will be holding as the research capacity development unit. Some of them will be already published and some of them are still in progress. So you look for the 2025 Institutional VYT competition submission link, which is here on the 11th. You click on it, it will take you to this pop-up tab. Then you click on view event. So on the view event, now you are able to access the resources. So this is your focus for now is the preparation of the entry documents, then you can be able now to just click on it. If you click on it, it will download. I think you will see it downloading. So you click on all of them, you download all of them. If I open my, I think on my, if I access the, let me just rather go, then go back again. So you can see all the downloads, I'm having them there. So now they are now within your hard drive of the gadget that you are using to do the download. And you have access now to the document that you use to prepare your entry, right? Let me go back to the presentation. Now you can see the presentation, just one thumb from the participants that you can now see the presentation again so that we continue.
Dr. Gabriel, we can see the presentation.
You cannot see it. All
We
right,
can.
you can see it. All right, thank you for confirming. Okay, so now I'm back again on the presentation. Let me go scroll to the, I think it have disturbed it a bit. Let me see if I have to share with you again. Okay, let me just click from here, from the presentation straight, right? Okay, so we have spoken about that. I've shown you of the process. I've spoken of the end of the resources. I've shown you the process as well. So these are just some technical requirements. You download the Visualize your thesis presentation template to your computer, delete the text, images, and video in the template, and add your own content. You may add additional slides to the template. However, the presentation, excluding the pre-formatted bookend slides, that is the title and reference slides, will be displayed for a maximum of 60 seconds. So that's why I think we have emphasized that the video is it should be in 60 seconds. You should be able to tell what your research entails. Then, but most VYT videos end up being around 72 to 75 seconds. Then the bookend slides set to display for 5 seconds. That is the setting that you do when you are creating the video. You can add additional reference slides if required. Ensure your slides are set to advance automatically. All this information is also in the entrant pack. Then the OCAID ID, you are encouraged also to put your OCAID ID. So if you want to create that profile, you can visit the OCAID website that is also indicated there. Then your entry must also be compatible with PowerPoint 2016 and later versions. I think the later versions for Windows is it's 2024, PowerPoint 20. Office 2024. So that is the later version. But please, you should test your entry before you submit it to ensure that also the video is playing and the you are not bringing Windows 2003 or those later versions that are no more compatible with the gadgets that we are having or the laptops that we are having now. Then best practices.
Sorry, Dr. Gabriel.
Yes,
we do have Offense has a hand up to ask a question.
Okay, Offense.
Yes, I was asking if you can copy and paste the link to the ORCID profile on the chat box so that I can be able to create it before I forget to include it in my entry.
Okay, I will do that.
No problem, I will assist.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Pile. I was just about to ask you. Okay, so these are just some technical requirements, for further instructions on setting transition slides. I've put, there are some links that are there that will help you with so that you can access and in the preparation of your entry. Then also the issue of Microsoft Office 365 for students here at the UJ, the university provides that. I think it's done by the Center for Academic Technologies for Students. The staff, they can also access it through Ulink. Even students, I think through Ulink as well, they are able to access the Office 365. Then the video and audio file formats that are supported in PowerPoint, you can visit the support office.com there. Then images and websites, Pixabay, Unsplash, Snap, got Flickr Commons, music websites, Incompetech, Music Open, and CC Mixed. So those are some of the just some applications that you can also make use of when you are preparing your entry. Then issues of copyright, POPIA, and referencing. If you are using indigenous, cultural, and intellectual knowledge, so if your research involves the use of this, that should be referenced as appropriate. So ICP commonly includes traditional knowledge, traditional culture expression, performances, cultural objects, human remains and tissues, the secret and sacred material and information, documentation of First Nations people's heritage in all forms of media. So if this is applicable to the research being presented with VYT, that the entrant and institution should refer to what is culturally appropriate as stated by cultural groups and organizations based on the geographical locations. Also, I think within the entrant pack, we also provide other links to policies within the UJ that also govern such issues as well, that should also be abided to for good ethical research conduct. Then the issue of generative artificial intelligence and softwares, you have to provide a reference of the generative artificial intelligence and software tool that was used. Language, VYT accepts videos in any language. However, please provide the subtitles and transcript in English. I don't know from previously whether, Dr. Pillay, have we ever received in another language?
Hi, Dr. Gabriel. No, we actually haven't. But as a requirement, just to state here as well, I know you'll mention it a little bit after. Irrespective of which language you use, you should have subtitles, a transcript, and a voiceover in both your PowerPoint and video. But but we haven't received any entries with other languages. Yes.
All right, thank you for the clarification. Copyright requirements, correct referencing of material in copyright compliance is required. Types of material to be considered, knowledge or intellectual property, including that the one that we have talked about, of cultural and indigenous knowledge, visual, photographs, charts, graphs, animations, sketches, cartoons, and so on. Remember all those rules that govern us, as researchers. What governs us, the credit that we should give where it is due, then that has to be done. If it's not your own, you have to reference it. Audio, music, sound effects, narrative, voiceovers, and so on. Softwares, programs, or website platforms used to create the videos. Then submission can contain original, third-party, and collaborative works, Creative Commons licensed material, public domain works, and material under license or with permission. So if you have sought for permission from the owner of that creative work, then you can be able to use it. But that proof should also be provided that you received permission to use that material. Then submissions cannot include material available under a share alike or a CC BY SA license. So this type of license, it enables reusers to distribute, remix, adapt, and build upon the material in any medium or format, as so long as attribution is given to the creator. But you cannot submit with that kind of material that is under that type of a license. And for full explanations of these, you can read page 7 and 8 on the entrant pack. Then essential links, I've provided some links where you can also get some resources, that you can use to.
Sorry to interrupt one more time. I think the slides might be lagging from my side. I just wanted to check with the attendees. Currently, we're still on the copyright slide.
All right. Me, I'm on the, should I? Okay, let me check.
Sorry, can one of my colleagues just confirm? Thank you.
I'm on the technical details slide.
Okay, so it's just me. Thank you.
So maybe it's just
yeah, it's just me. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, where it says essential links. Can you
Yes,
confirm?
yes,
Okay, all right.
yes.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Dr.
So I
Yoda.
think we are on the same page. Okay, so these are just some of the links. I think they are active. I'll just click maybe one or two to just show you that these are active links. So you can get some results. This is from the University of Melbourne. So where you can also access more information on the program itself, and other resources also that are essential to the preparation of your entry. Then I'll also open, this is our UJ for policies of POPIA and PIA. So you can also, for you to conform with these requirements, you also have to visit the POPIA and the PIA Act, and be able to apply that in when you progress with your presentation. So all references to be done using the Harvard referencing system as per UJ guidelines. Then I've just put a disclaimer there. It's for us. Okay, this is the submitting process. Now I'm taking it up from where I've left. So like I've already explained to you when I was demonstrating, I said you should go back again. After preparing everything, you go back again to the using the same link, you go back again to the entry page, VYT entry page on RCDMS. When you are on the page, you are only after uploading all the required documents. You can see here on your left, far left, on the left of your screen, just down on far left there, you can see the documents that you have to upload. So here's a checklist as well. Required documents, and there's you have to provide the checklist, terms of and conditions signed by you and the supervisor, abstract, script, PowerPoint template, and your video, your entry video. Then after doing that, this will now become active. Then you can now, after register now your submission on the RCD MS system. Then that's the way that we receive it. And I must bring it to attention that the maximum limit of these attachments, of the uploads, documents that you can upload, is 100 megabytes. But mostly the problem will be on the video. So the video should be 100. If it exceeds, then the system will not take it. So it has to be less than 100 megabytes. And we have received the videos that we have received in the past. For us to come up with that, we used the videos that we received in the past. So the maximum was less than 100 megabytes. So I'm sure that all of us, all those who are going to enter into the competition will be able to successfully pass this stage. Then the selection criteria is outlined in the eligibility rules. They are also, there in the entry pack, faculty representation, quality of submission. So those are some of the things that we'll be checking, as who will be successful in entering the competition or not. Complete submission compared against provided sources and guidelines. You must note that knowledge or intellectual property, the resubmission of previous entries is only permitted where substantial revision. Yes, okay. Failure to comply to the rules and guidelines, you'll be disqualified. Your submission will be disqualified. Incomplete submissions also, they will not be accepted as entry. Then there's a disclaimer, important one. There's only about 20 slots that are available. So these are just on a first come, first serve basis. So which means from now, from here, you are already starting, preparation of, if you aspire to enter into the competition, then you have to begin with the process. So if there are no submission from a certain faculty, we will select submissions. We will select submissions from another faculty to fill in participant spots. Okay, right. Then I think I've shared with you all the important details pertaining to the VYT, how you can register your participation or your entry into the competition. I'm now going to, play a video of our entrant, of our guest speaker. He was the entrant in 2024 and the winner, for the first place winner, for the VYT institutional competition for last year, Mr. Isaac Potgieter. right? So I'm going to play a video of him, of his his video that sort of got him the first place, right? Then from there he will share with us, what he would like, also some words of wisdom from those who have already done it. Okay, so let me play, and after the video, and take over from there. Then we will meet again in the question and answer segment when he has concluded his talk with us, or what you want to share with us. So let me play it in your hearing. I think I've shared the sound as well.
Now, this research is focused on cultural heritage represented in virtual reality, specifically looking at Sophiatown in Johannesburg, South Africa, a demolished neighborhood, and looking at how we can use interviews from people who live there to represent the place. Now, a lot of these cultural heritage and VR representations look at sites that already exist. This has created a bias towards well-preserved sites, which is specifically a Europe-centric bias. It is also a bias created for the preference to represent tangible aspects of heritage over intangible aspects. If I told you what my childhood home looked like, pictured here, and you never had this picture, how could you reconstruct what this place looked like from my oral accounts alone? So we've had over 4 hours of interviews with people who used to live in Sophiatown, coding everything they said, identifying places and events, building a network out of that. From that, we've been able to recreate and reproduce and cross-reference a lot of these spaces to rebuild a plausible representation of Sophiatown.
Sorry, Dr. Gabriel, just before Mr. Isaac starts. So yes, a wonderful entry. Thank you. To also just view the other participants' videos, you can go to our YouTube channel. I'll type it in the chat, as well as our website, where you can click on the winners' names and it'll take you to their presentations. I'm just bringing up this point because Mr. Isaac's entry was one that used videos and live himself in it actually, and then other students used Adobe or PowerPoint or Canva. So there's a wide variety. But back over to you, Dr. Gabriel and Mr. Isaac. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vile. I'm handing over to Mr. Isaac.
Hi, thank you for that. I see there is a hand up. Should we address that first before I go?
I'm sure we can do that. Offense?
Oh, yes. I loved the video and congratulations to Isaac. So I looked at the first part of the video before he included pictures, right? So I was asking if the quality of the camera is also an aspect that they look at when they are reviewing the videos. And if maybe, for example, you have a poor quality camera and you're using a phone that maybe will not give you that clear picture that Isaac used, will that disadvantage you, or they're looking at the content and they're listening to the audio of the video and not necessarily the quality of the camera?
Look, I would say it's definitely both. I think quality is important. Quality gives a general impression about the effort that you put in. But at the end of the day, I've seen high quality videos which do not really communicate well, and I've seen low quality videos that communicate very well. And a low quality video that communicates well will always win out of those two. So while it is important, I think it's about getting your message across more so than having the highest resolution or whatever it may be.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, may I also advise on this? Sorry, Isaac, before you go ahead.
Yeah.
So just for reference here, Dr. Gabriel is going to share the judging rubric at some point, and one of it is the technical layout of your video. But if you know that the camera part or the video is not your strong suit, then I suggest that you use other platforms to your advantage. Okay, that was my comment. Thank you.
Okay, welcome everyone, and thanks for inviting me to speak today. As introduced, my name is Isaac Potgieter. I was the winner last year for Visualise for Thesis. And it is not an easy thing to turn, 80,000 word PhD into 1 minute. That is not an easy thing to do at all. So I commend you for your bravery. And whether you place, whether you make it through to the nationals, whatever it is an incredibly valuable exercise just for your own personal growth. And even just participating is enough to put on your CV and to show engagement and development. So good for you for being here. I think it's a great choice. Now, I cannot stress this enough. The point of this competition is not to explain every single aspect of your PhD. You will fail if you have to explain every single thing. It is simply impossible to do that in 1 minute. What you need to focus on, I would say, is the what, the why, and the how. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And how are you doing it? If you can get that across in 60 minutes, 60 seconds, that is already half of the battle won. So I'm going to give you some tips, some pointers that helped me produce my video as I was doing research and getting into it. And also some observations I've made from this competition and other conferences, just to give you some advice, really. So you need to really simplify what you're doing. Luckily, we already have something called our research questions. So for me, I started with my research question and started trying to explain that to family and friends. Okay. And ask them questions, see if they actually understand what you're saying. Because the research question is supposed to be what you're doing most distilled, which is what you should bring across. But now, one of the things that get in the way there is the jargon. And because we're experts in our fields, because we've been doing what we do for so long, sometimes we don't even realize we're drowning in our own jargon. We don't even realize we're using jargon because it's so natural to us. It's so natural to speak to colleagues, fellow students, to your professor. But if you go and you talk to your grandmother and you quickly realize it is not natural speech at all. Every academic field is so specialized and the judges will not be able to follow because they're not all from the same field as you. So simplify what you have and try to work jargon out of your explanation as much as possible. Personally, I think each slide should try and communicate a single idea. If you've got a big graph, if you've got a spider graph, a bunch of bullet points, a bunch of graphics, it's hard to know what to focus on. And it's hard to know what you're trying to say with that single slide. But if you have one idea for each slide, you can see I had the Colosseum there. That was me explaining the idea that a lot of VR experiences are of sites that still exist, physically exist. Next slide, I had the gladiator and the Colosseum. That's explaining the idea that there's a focus on tangible over intangible. Okay, next slide. You see what I'm saying? There's a single idea that I need people to understand for each slide, not 10 ideas on one slide, because people will get lost and will get confused. Okay, with that, if you use graphs, which of course, graphs can be very helpful, pie charts, brain charts, all of that can be very helpful, but try to keep them really simple. Instead of directly copying and pasting your research finding graph or whatever it may be, try to remove as many variables that are not pertinent to the point you're trying to make. So if you've got a new kind of medicine, don't explain to us every single molecular reaction and every single thing that you did to reach to this point. Just find what's most important, what's most innovative about what you're doing, and try to communicate that. We can infer that there's more going on. We know that there's a lot more behind the scenes going on to have produced this result. And you can imply that, but don't try to explain all of it, because it's hard to know what's important, what's the crux of what you're doing in that case. Okay. Any questions so far? I think we might. Is the meeting going to end? Do we have to give it a moment?
I don't think the meeting will end, although it's scheduled, but if it does, I do request everyone to join the same link. I'll just extend it then.
Okay, great.
Extend the time.
Okay.
So sorry, Dr. Gabriel. I was wondering if you were trying to open the VYT entrant pack at the same time because we could see your screen.
Okay, yes, Dr. Pillay. I wanted to share with the entrance the part of to address that question that talks about the criteria that is used to judge the entries that will be successful in the competition. So there is within the entrant pack that criteria is there, the judging criteria that addresses the research understanding, communication and language, engagement and creativity, technical quality, and the topical significance of that. So also the part of questions and answers as well, because you will still come and be pitch your video in person. So basically questions will be asked as well, where you have to be explaining. So all that is taken into consideration, and there's a score against each criteria. You can access this in the entrant pack for your review. So you can access this in the entrant pack. Then everything is like clearly stated. This criterion, the criterion, as well as the score that is allocated for each sort of criteria. So I don't know if Dr. Pillay, if this addresses the question, and then we can maybe move on to the questions and any contributions. Sort of, I just term it an open discussion, sort of, with the participants.
Yes. Sorry, I just want to check with Isaac if he was done, because I think I interrupted also by just clarifying whether the meeting will end.
All right. Isaac?
I'd like to just continue on a few more points, please.
Yes, please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So another thing that I would say is that effort does not necessarily mean, the more effort you put in, the more more likely it is that you'll win. We had people doing full animations. They've animated the video themselves. It looks great. But if it's still not easy to understand what are you trying to communicate, that's not really going to get you anywhere. So while adding in effort, presented it in a unique way, working with stories, working with animations, you don't have to do this, by the way. You absolutely do not. But if that's the way you want to go, that's fine. But just make sure it's actually adding to the central theme, making sure that it's helping to make it clearer and not kind of obfuscating things. I think it's a good question to ask when you add graphics, colors, anything. Is this actually making my point more clear or not? If you have a presentation and you have some clip art there, you have some icons, some images, is that just there to fill space, or is that actually helping us understand something? You need to ask yourself that question. You shouldn't be afraid of empty space on your slides as well, because empty space just tells us where we need to look and what we need to focus on. So it doesn't all have to be filled with things. Same with bullet points. Bullet points are fine. Bullet points can help to really simplify things, but don't fill your whole page of bullet points. Don't fill your whole page of writing, because we cannot read it all. I would say 3 bullet points on a page maximum, and then you can go to another page. But if your page is just filled with writing, this is 60 seconds. We actually won't have time to read all of that. Okay. So on that, it's this thing of not adding graphics, but using graphics. Okay, not just adding to fill space, but using it to make your point more clear. I think that's really a key difference between a good presentation within this competition and one that's just a bit more confusing. If your research has some kind of output, I had the VR experience. Maybe there's a patent, an invention, medicine, I don't know what it is, but if there's some kind of physical output, show that as quickly as possible. It helps immensely to actually see what the result is of your research as quickly as possible. It already fills in so many blanks, answers so many questions. What is this for? Why are you doing this? Oh, I can see. Here's your output. This is what you've been doing this for. If there's no real output, that's also fine. That's not a problem. But if there is, don't be shy about that. I think really put that front and center. Okay. It does help to anticipate questions a little bit because the Q&A is also very short and everyone will not be able to ask their questions. So it helps to share the video with your friends, colleagues, students who are with you in the same field, and just ask them what's unclear, what don't they understand, and try and add that into your presentation. Don't add it all in, but just try to answer questions in your presentation. The last thing you want is during the Q&A to have people ask, "Oh, I didn't understand this. I don't know why you're doing this. What was the point of that?" You want them to ask, "Oh, I understand what you're doing. So how are you going to do that?" You want them to ask for clarifying things instead of them being lost. So I think trying to anticipate those questions does help. And then I think a final thing which Chandra touched on is language. Now, there were a few presentations which had a little voice-generated voice, a little American GPS woman speaking. People do not like that, I have seen. People turn off on that because ultimately you are part of your research. You are the person driving your research and they want to engage with you. And just in the fact of you doing this research, whatever it might be, you doing your PhD, you really putting so much into this, that qualifies you to to engage, to have a voice. And just because of that, you actually literally are a world leading expert in the thing that you are doing. So you should act like one. You should say, I am a world leading expert in this, and have the confidence to say, I can put my mark on this. I can be a part of this. I don't have to hide behind the AI voice generated thing. Don't worry about accents. Don't worry about language even. I have had another kind of competition, but that I was part of, where someone did research on the development of scientific terms in Setswana. Of course, her presentation had to be in Setswana. In that case, especially if the language is part of your research, speak your language, speak whichever language you want and have your subtitles in. If you're really uncomfortable in English, it's fine. I have never seen someone switch off when they're not hearing English if there's subtitles. In fact, sometimes people pay a little bit more attention because they have to read the subtitles. So if that's a fear, if you're worried about your English proficiency or accent, don't do the AI voice generated thing. It really, I see people really switch off on that. I don't know if you would agree with that, Chandra, but that's what I've seen before.
Yeah, I can just quickly speak on this. 100% I agree with you. I feel like the audience does respond to, well, us as South Africans, we understand each other. But if you are worried about the international level and do want to use a voiceover, then maybe choose a voice on the AI that's similar to our dialect. For example, I know some of the online platforms like Clipchamp, they have a South African voice. So then it will also, it's clear, it can not incorporate, sorry. It will cater then to both your institutional, your national, actually, and international levels. If you are more comfortable with using an AI voiceover. Yeah.
That's
Thank
a
you,
very
Lisa.
good point. No, that's a very good point. And yeah, I think there was a submission. I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm just gonna mix up the facts a little to obfuscate who it was, but I think there was something about weather prediction in rural KwaZulu-Natal, and then they used this female American robot voice. And that's all that people spoke about in the Q&A. That's all that they remembered. Not all that they remembered, but that was the focus. And you don't want that to be the focus of your work, because what they did was actually quite amazing. You want the focus to be on the actual work that you're working on and that you're passionate about. So I would say those are some of the practical tips, but at the end of the day, trust that you actually are if not the world expert in what you're going to present here today, and carry that with you. You know, we respect that. We can see all the effort that's been done just for you to get to this level. So we are going to be engaged, and we are going to want to listen to what you have to say. Okay, and we'll take some questions if you want, but all the best to everyone. It really is a good experience to try and participate in this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac. I actually, to me, you know, your teaching and your academic experience, as well as your preparation for this competition last year, is shining through. You're very well informed, and I'm very happy with the advice you've given the students. So we are very honored for you to share that knowledge, as well as help the next lot of winners. So if we may just all give Mr. Isaac a round of applause, I think it's well deserved, more than well deserved. Thank you very much. Yes, as you said, we will open the floor to questions. Thank you. I think this is the time, while Mr. Isaac is here, for the participants to maybe even ask like his experience. How did he feel on the day? How did he feel afterwards? There we go. We have one question from Brogan. You may go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, I'm still busy with my master's research and I do have an output, but I've only just started my design process now and don't have an output to show. Do you think I should add in some of my process work, or should I pull examples from the companies that I've interviewed as examples? I'm just not sure, because I'd like to show my output, because I think that's a good way of explaining what you're doing. I just don't know if I will have an output by the submission.
So my master's is in architecture. I've lectured architecture for 2 years. I love process work. Often you can actually find, for me at least, often you can actually find more in process work than the final product, because you can see what you're grappling with and you can see your intent. So absolutely, I think add that in at the start. Show us what you're wrestling with. Show us an idea of what it's going to look like. It doesn't have to be completely polished. In fact, I think, you know, when we're doing research, when we're in academia, we're striving towards something. So to show that really does, it really does help. So I would add that in.
Okay, thank you so much.
And if I could also add, over the years, I've given the same advice to participants, is that you need to remember that your audience is a non-specialist audience.
Yeah.
It's meaning that it's mixed. So you need to also articulate it in a language, or like decide on your content that would be understood by a diverse audience. So in that sense, when you're preparing, please also maybe call your friends, ask them to go through the video for you and tell them whether they can understand it. So and the second thing I wanted to say is the audience, the judges, do not know the full scope of your work. So as you know, this is just a 60-second video, so it's hard to cram everything in. So you can choose one aspect of it so that you could include all the necessary information that you want to in that sense. I hope that answers your question as well.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. We then have, sorry, Dr. Gabriel, would you also like to add? Oh, that was not your hand.
No, I think you have addressed them, you know, perfectly, you know, all the questions that have been asked so far. So I've no addition, but I can see a number of hands that are up from the participants.
Sure,
Or maybe are they hands that have been addressed already?
No, it hasn't. I thought it was your hand. It's actually offenses.
Okay.
You may go ahead.
On the day of the presentation, seeing the audience, seeing the judges, seeing that this is the moment that you have been preparing for, what did you do to make sure that you don't forget what you have practiced on your own while you were alone, taking all your points and making sure that you articulate yourself better? What advice can you give us when you get to that venue so that people don't don't miss what you actually prepared. Also, you calming your nerves as well by looking at people. Maybe, for example, you are not a person who's used to public speaking, standing in front of people and saying what's in your head. So what advice can you give us?
Look, what really helps is that it's pre-recorded. So you pre-record on your video and you play that. So if you're happy with your video, then you know you're not going to mess that up. You cannot predict what questions people will ask, though. There's no way to predict that. There's no way to prepare for that. So the best thing for me is to just take a lot of time, especially as the video is playing, to look everyone in the eyes, just back and forth at my audience, look at them, look at everyone individually, and just realize, okay, these are just people. It's fine. No one's going to shout at me. You know, I've spoken to people before. And then when someone asks you a question, just trust yourself, because you are the expert in this field. Like you really know what you're talking about. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be able to distill this into a 60-minute video. So you just have to take it as it comes and trust in yourself at that point.
Okay, because I thought you are going to present on stage and then have questions after, but I see in the chat box that the video plays and then you get to be asked questions. So thank you for that clarity.
And when I ask questions, don't try to answer it. I've seen people that ask a question and then suddenly they begin with their whole thesis and explain everything. No, just listen to the question. Make sure you spend time listening. If you didn't get everything, ask them to repeat. There's no shame in that. And try to answer what they're asking quickly and specifically. And quickly is important because we've also seen someone get a question and spend 10 minutes answering the question and then no one else gets input. So do try to focus on what they're actually saying, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Gabriel, you have something to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to just compliment what Isaac has just said, you know, in terms of knowing your research. Obviously, the questions that you'll be asked pertains to the research that you are doing, and also the importance of being, you know, going straight to the point. I always make an example of that a public speaker and an academic, and so for academics, we don't have the latitude to you know, comparative to public speaking, tell the audience what we want to talk about, then talk about it, and then tell them what we talked about, right? But for public speaking, that is good. Why? Because that enhances the understanding of the, you know, conversation that you are having with your audience. But in academic writing, you have to go straight to the point. Otherwise, it's repetition. So you have to, that importance of that, even when you answer your questions, as brief as possible, but straight to the point.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gabriel. That's very good advice. And just to let you know, Dr. Gabriel, this is Dr. Gabriel as a specialist giving you his advice. He's spoken in many different conferences. He even won at one of the competitions when he wasn't part of RCD or the organizing committee. So this is some gold standard advice coming from both our facilitator and our guest speaker. Okay, I'll take the next hand now, who I've actually been waiting for. Once you start communicating with RCD, we usually remember you. So Pumudzo, who has long been awaiting VYT, you may go ahead.
Thanks, colleagues. Good afternoon. The question from my side is just on the admin side to yourselves, Dr. Chandre, is that there was a statement that said that there is a few slots available, and if some of the slots will be allocated to the different faculties. So I just want to know whether all faculties will be listed, engineering, humanities, whatever, and each faculty will then have a spot, and then if there's no one in engineering, then it means the spot that was in engineering then will go to social sciences. I just want to understand that admin part of it. Hope I'm clear.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you are clear. Thank you. Dr. Gabriel, would you like to take this question? You did have a slide.
a slide that was addressing that.
Yes. About the
Okay.
number of slots, which was 20, and then the
Yes.
selection criteria.
Okay, let me maybe open it. Okay, I think my understanding from that statement is that each faculty should have an equal chance, of participating, of entrants participating in the competition. So if we are having 20, we are taking 20 entrants, right? So which means across the 8 faculties that we have, within the University of Johannesburg. So each faculty automatically mean that we will, distribute the slots accordingly, to the faculty. But if the other faculty does not have any represent, let's say maybe 2 faculties or 3 does not have any representatives, then we allocate that to the other faculties that would have been represented in terms of the entrance that would have received.
Yes, 100%. And just to let you know why we created that criteria is because over the years we've had a lot of entries from the science and health sciences faculty. So it seemed as if we were having favoritism, but it was only that those were the submissions that we received. So with increased marketing, we started getting more and more participation from other faculties, and so we had to set a new criteria. So obviously it will be based on quality and with the over faculty distribution to allow every faculty to have a representative. Thank you. All right, and then our next question is from Maggie. You may go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations, Isaac, on the competition. I just wanted to find out, for people that do not have an output or something that will be physical for the research, what advice would you give to someone that doesn't have an output? How can we stand out during that presentation, perhaps?
So would you say that there's no physical output, or is there no output at all from your research?
Let's say, for instance, I don't have like an object, like maybe with you, like you have AI, for instance. But for us, I'm in the tourism space. When you spoke about the area that you would use the AI in, I don't have that. So how can I maybe stand out from any other competitor during that time?
Look, I think an output helps if you have one, because you can answer the what quite easily because you can just show it. But if you don't have an output, that's still fine. You just still need to do a bit of extra effort then to explain your what. So you keep to your why. Why are you doing this research? Why is this research important? What is the research, and what is the result from the research, and how you did the research. So I think as long as you still covered those 3 bases, I think you'll still be fine.
Alrighty, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions? There's none in the chat box right now. Do you have any questions for the organizers for the day of the event? I like that we are all optimistic for that day. Yes, Ofense, you may go ahead.
Yes, so I wanted to ask, at what time do you usually host that day for the competition, so that I can confirm for safety purposes on my side, because I'm not staying on campus. I stay at home, so I use a taxi to travel. So I wanted to ask if the time of the day is going to be considering my schedule.
Dr. Gabriel, would you like to take this? Dr. Gabriel is the VYT coordinator, so I'm going handing over to him. I just have had experience with this, but he will be running this VYT this year, so you will be hearing a lot from him. So Dr. Gabriel.
Offense, I beg that you repeat again.
Oh, so I was saying I use a taxi to travel from home to campus and vice versa. So I wanted to ask that on the day of the event, what time is it going to be, because I cannot travel late because it's not safe for me.
Okay, I think the time maybe Dr. Pile, you also stand to advise on that. But from my past experience with the VITs that we have had in the past, it's in the morning that we start them. We start
Okay.
having, because there's quite a number of presentations that will be also going on. The questions they do take time. It's what is the video, of course, it's 60 seconds, but the questions take a bit of time. And for the whole day, we would want, to try to accommodate everyone. There is one that I think went over, spanned over 2 days, I think. Because of the nature of engagements that will be happening. So we haven't set a specific time, but I'm sure that will be communicated to all the entrants once we have set that time. But also, Dr. Pile, you can advise from the previous ones that we have held. The time we used to start the events.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Gabriel. So last year we didn't have to span over, so I'll use that as an example. It went from 8 to 2. Yes, 8 to 2. But we could schedule you for the morning and you could leave earlier. But if you are a winner, you have to stay for the awards and prize giving. So yeah, it's usually 8 to 2. We had 15 participants last year, but depending on how many entries we get this year, the schedule will change, as Dr. Gabriel mentioned. And then just to answer Pumudzo's question in the chat, which relates to this question, he said he remembers that some participants also presented online last year, if that's not an option. So we usually strongly suggest you are present on the day, because it also helps with interaction with the judges. But in emergencies, we do allow the online presentation,
But just
which
to
was the
add
case
also,
for the participant last year.
just to add,
Sorry.
Dr. Pile, on
Yes.
that, sometimes it also becomes a bad experience as well because of internet connectivity. So it can just mess up your, otherwise what could have been a very nice presentation, then the network just sort of interrupts everything. So being in person, I would think that should be the very, very last resort to opt for an online presentation.
It's definitely a big advantage to being in person versus online. It's just there's a delay in asking questions. You might not hear very clearly. You have to wait for the mic to go around. You lose a lot of time online, unfortunately.
Absolutely pivotal, important points. Thank you, Dr. Gabriel and Isaac. Hey, any more questions? I know we are going over time and we are reaching actually 30 minutes over time, but just in case anybody wants to get another question squeezed in. Okay, maybe just me to maybe promote RCD. Isaac, how has your experience been with RCD over the past year? And what opportunities, like, besides VYT?
Sure. No, it's been great. I mean, as a postgrad, there have been so many different workshops. I come from architecture, so I never actually wrote a thesis. I did a design portfolio. And from the beginning, RCD presented courses and online courses and workshops about how to just do the basics of referencing, putting together a thesis, how to do research, any topic you could really be interested in, different kinds of specialized software. And, don't unsubscribe from their emails, because something will pop up which looks like it's exactly for you. And those sessions have always been helpful for me.
Thank you so much. I wanted someone else to give a testimony because it would seem biased if I did it. So thank you very much. And last year, Isaac did a training I mentioned with his software. So possibly we'd reach out to you this year if anyone's interested to also maybe spotlight your company. But opportunity is, if we can reach out to you for as passing your knowledge, because that's what we do here. We pass on knowledge, and we hope others will pass that knowledge on too. So thank you for supporting us, Isaac, and all the best. We will see you soon.
You.
Dr. Gabriel, do you have any last words as well?
Dr. Bile, maybe just my concluding remarks. I think we have shared a lot of great insights, that prepares the potential entrance into this competition in preparing their videos, and the process. It's a very guided process, I must say, and I'm thinking that they will leverage upon the insights that we have shared today, and I also thank Isaac for his presence today. I think it's a lot of information that you have shared with. It was another presentation on its own, and from the participant perspective. So I think we have shared both. It was a dual sort of kind of insights that we have shared from us as the organizers, and also from those who have participated in it. And what could have been much better than having someone who came, who was the one who took the first prize for the previous competition. So I thank you so much for your presence and everything that you have shared with us, and also to the participants. I thank you for your presence and being a good audience. I think it was very interactive, a lot of questions. We are looking forward to receiving your entry, submissions. And with that, I think Dr. Pillay, you can you can let me just give my thank you, and then you can take over from me.
Thank you, Dr. Gabriel. Actually, there's a hand up from Pomozo quickly.
Just one more question from my side. Thank you. I see that on the last day we're supposed to submit, I will be out of the country. So will it be possible to submit before the deadline and everything will be fine?
That's a very good question. Yes. So the submission portal is open from now until the deadline. So you can submit anytime from now until 23:59 on the 11th.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you. Okay. With that, once again, we would like to express our appreciation to the students for participating, and the facilitator, as well as the guest speaker, for all their hard work and insightful knowledge. Thank you for supporting the RCD unit. Hope to see some of you there on the day. I will now stop the recording and end the session. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.